Hey guys, we're here with Luka, who just finished 5th place with Ryzeal. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on your version of deck?
So I guess my version was like pretty whatever. It's like plain old noodle soup is the term I like to use for it. It's like pretty standard for a pure Ryzeal list. I'm just playing breakers. Shout out to Santoli for creating the deck.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Well,
it.
let's get to the list then.
All right, so I play 3 ice, 3 X, 3 sword, 1 node, and then the 3 bonfire as well. It's pretty standard stuff. I don't think it really needs explanation. 2 cross, 1 plugin. Also, again, standard.
Is that standard?
Yeah, four pots. These 3 are like goated, except when they banish like 5 names every time. It was actually awful, like abysmal. Node and plugin love getting banished by this card as well when they're not in my hand to start the game. And then Prosp, I don't think I saw this card once, if I'm being honest, but like, it's supposed to be played theoretically because it's like really solid when you need more engine. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And for hand traps, I only played 6. These were meant to be like more breaker hand traps than they were actual hand traps themselves. I played 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. So the idea behind the Ash Blossom is that you can play it into like Feast Within Paradise. You can Ash like a White Binder, and it's like pretty solid at like just doing that type of stuff. Where you can use it as utility on your own turn to like try to stop an opponent's interruption, trade 1 for 1. Whereas the Imperm, like I guess for an example versus like Ryzeal, a lot of the cards you'll be seeing in the rest of this deck. You want to be able to like imperm the detonator so it comes back with the twins effect, and then you're able to like use another one of the breakers in your hand to just like negate it again or book it, and then you just kind of win the game from there because like in the pure mirror that's pretty much like that's all she wrote really. And then versus Malice, you can negate like an SP or like you can't really negate Cryptor, but like Enigon Cryptor is kind of weird sometimes, except versus the Malice Featsmith deck. And yeah, that was pretty much it on why I played these specifically. I didn't want to play other hand traps just because it was playing into Talents a lot, and Talents is kind of the god card this format. Every time you resolve Talents to rip a hand, you pretty much always win the game, unless your opponent's hand is so cracked that you like auto lose. Other cards I played, 3 Slayer, 3 Eclipse, and then 3 Book of Moon. I want to max out on books just because I want to dodge Imperm as much as possible on the Duo Drive. And then Eclipse is obviously really good into the mirror. There's a specific god board with, I guess, for the mirror, where you end on Baguska plus Duo Drive in defense position with 2 materials and a Starly Photon Dragon with the cross up, and it's like pretty much impossible to out unless you open like exactly Eclipse or like 2 breakers and 2 names. So yeah, that's why I decided to play it. And then I played 2 Talents. So originally I was on 3 of this and 2 of the Book of Moon, but I realized more and more in testing, as much as it is like incredible to see, I hated drawing like dead cards in the mirror going first, where like this card would just never resolve and I'd be sitting on it in hand for like turns on turns on turns. So I figured like cutting it to 2 was fine as well, just because you can't, like the take effect in the mirror is really solid, but when you're playing against something like Malice, the take effect's actually awful. Like you take a White Binder or like a Cryptor and it just does nothing. Like it's just the body that you attack them directly with, so it doesn't really come up that much. I guess the one other thing I wanted to talk about was Blue Eyes. I played like 5 today and I beat them all, if I'm being honest. Like Blue Eyes is kind of a free matchup for this deck just because you have so many breakers. Like Eclipse just FTKs them if they don't have Ash. Slayer, I wasn't actually playing along, but I'll get into that later and why. And then like Book of Moon's like pretty solid, I guess, if you're going first. And then the last 2 cards I played in the main were Strike. This card's the GOAT. Like I'm like actually in love with this card. Every time I resolve Strike, I win the game. Like versus in round 7 and 8, or sorry, 8 and 9. I played 2 Malice Fiends with players that both bullied me, and I just set like I set like Strike, Judgment, and a Book, and I beat them both with like not summoning or like using Engine at all. I thought it was like really solid, just like being able to pass on stuff like that, and I really liked it. I definitely considered playing or like maining Strike like further, just as we get like further into the format, just because like the Malice Fiends deck tends to grind a lot more rather than like setting up an FTK board like the original or like the pure Malice deck does. I guess I'll get into the extra deck. So 2 Detonator, 2 Duo Drives. Please someone find me a second CR. 2 Eclipse, 1 Ag. Pretty standard stuff, like this is like the standard lineup. And for other stuff, Baguska for the mirror, Jagaris because this card's crazy. There was a line that came up today where I actually OTK'd a Malice player because I forced them to IP Masquerena make a Moon of the Closed Sky, and they had a White Binder on board and they were on 71 life, and I had a dual drive with one material in Eclipse Twins that was doubled by Dugars. So with the extra materials, it becomes 52. And I punched over the Moon and the White Binder for game, and it was like insane. Like otherwise, I had no chance of winning that game. This card's absolutely insane. It beats Chaos Angel when like it's just a light Chaos Angel because a lot of the time you can't out it otherwise. And then like the Reborn effect is crazy. The draw effect is crazy into Blue Eyes as well if you don't want to end on the Star Leech. I guess it's like Star Leech. I don't really like. The only time I'll end on Star Leech is if I don't draw like an Ash or a Solemn, like Judgment specifically, just because I'm like able to negate like a Tronus or a Slayer anyways with and I can just draw more cards, you know, see more cards in hand, try to like optimize it a little bit, like pitch the dead cards like the Talents and the Slayers. So I think, yeah, this card's like it's also insane. Like in the mirror, this card's crazy. In every other matchup, it's crazy except Blue Eyes. It's crazy. I don't like making this first, particularly into Blue Eyes, just because Dominus is still in the format. And I wasn't playing stuff like Crossout or Called By. So I didn't like making this first because like the susceptibility to Ash, unless I draw specifically Cross, is like really bad. Other cards I played Exton. This card's crazy. I think it's pretty much mandatory just because of Blue Eyes in the format. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I played like 5. It was insane. In a 9-round regional, seeing that many is like insane. Dweller, Tornado. And then the 2 Slayer targets I played were Bucephalus and Garura. So, as I mentioned, I thought the matchup for Blue Eyes was particularly free, just because you had so many cards that just like auto win in the matchup, especially like post side. You have like Lightning Storms and Duster. So, it's just like really solid to be able to play these cards. And not have to play them along, just because I like the utility of all these cards better, and I thought everything else came out more. And that was pretty much it for the X deck.
Side deck?
Alright, going into the side deck now. 3 Lancias. I hate Malice. That deck sucks. To be honest, this card, like, I think I saw it once the whole day. I only played 2 Malice, so it was like whatever. And I saw it into Ancient Gear, weirdly enough, which I played round 2. And I get like, I figured like it'd be able to stop like the trap card to ban it for that's like the Miracle Fusion. And I figured that was like good enough just to like warrant playing it, just because everything else was like terrible. Like resolving a Book of Eclipse or like a Book of Moon just like did really nothing. To be honest, I don't know what that deck does. He got FTK'd by Babushka one game, and like that was pretty much the set. And then other 3, I played Joel Lockbird. I guess the card's crazy going first. Like you can side it into like Blue Eyes, into Feast with Ryzeal, into Pure Ryzeal. Like this card's insane. The problem is going second. Like you have a little bit of problems after resolving this. The only matchup, like realistically, I'd probably side this into like Mermail, which was my only loss and was in round 1. Funny enough. So I won like the next 8 rounds in a row. So I guess Droll didn't. I wouldn't say it overperformed, but it didn't underperform either. It was just like, it was pretty solid. 3 other cards I played, Storm, Duster. I have no words. I think these are the best side cards in the format. And then, yet again, shout out to Santoli. 3 Gravekeeper's Inscription. The Banished effect is obviously crazy. It stops Bestials, stops the mouse stuff. Stops Fiendsmith and Paradise as well. This card's like absolutely like bonkers. I'm not gonna lie. You use like the Dweller effect as well, which came up a lot. In testing, it came up against Fire King, came up against Mermail, because it's literally just Dweller. And then the last, or the Neither Plague and Special Summon from Grave, I don't think it ever came up, but if it was ever useful, I'd probably know. The other 2 effects are insane though. And the last 3 are Solemn Judgments.
Awesome. Well, congrats again on the top. Any last shoutouts?
I guess shout out to the Council of Ravina. They're, you know, huge help in terms of testing and stuff. Shout out to Matt. He was a lot of help as well. Shout out to Dylan, my duo. Shout out to, I guess, my parents, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.